Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. Hey, here we go again. Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. My name is Sean, and Kyle is hanging out here as well. We are glad you're tuning in today.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
As most of you know, we started a top pick for season 6, so today's category, kind of silly, but we all do it. What's our biggest time suck? Where do we lose the most time for a frivolous cause or frivolous reason? So, Kyle, where do you see yourself wasting time?
So, it's not so much an activity as just like space in my mind. Like,
Okay.
and I think of social media specifically. Like, when I post something on Instagram, we all do it, I hope we can admit that, is that, you know, you check and see how many likes you got.
Totally.
And so I'm not talking about using it to like see what other friends are doing and stuff like that, but I'm talking about posting and then being like, oh, I'm
Serving
so
yourself.
Awesome, and I've got so many likes, and like just thinking about that kind of crap doesn't allow me to think about other stuff, right?
Wow.
And, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would say I get sucked into the suggested feeds, not so much how. Well, I don't post a whole lot, I guess, right now. So maybe there's nothing to distract me in that arena, but I certainly will scroll for a good 15 minutes before I realize, move on. Like, there's more important things I can be doing.
That's true. That is a true time suck. Like, right before I get in bed, if I see something on Instagram and then I go down the rabbit hole, I look up and it's like an hour and a half later. I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Yeah.
Thankfully, at home, my internet or cell service is kind of weak. So where I really get distracted is reels, and especially in the world of dance or like funny things. So I'll watch a reel of somebody doing some cool hip-hop thing or a group all in sync, and then it'll suggest another one, right? And I'll hit play, and then it takes forever to load. Well, that frustrates me, so I just give up. So thankfully, there's a bit of a buffer for me because that it doesn't load very fast, and I don't have the patience to wait. It's not that important to me. However, I do get sucked in still to playing Risk. Like, that's my go-to if I feel like I'm a little ahead of schedule, or maybe if I'm just killing time, like on lunch break or something at work. I'll start a game of Risk, and before I know it, I've wasted more time than I intended. Right.
So, are you playing with other people, like, that you know, or how does that work?
No. Very rarely do I play online, and when I do, it's with complete strangers.
Okay.
Mostly I'll play the bots of the computer because you can play it faster and kind of just get through it. When I play online, it's a very timed process, and everybody has their time limit, so you gotta really be focused. If I play the bots, I can make a move and then go do my hair while the computer makes its moves, or I can make my bed, or I can kind of get up and come back. Yeah. It's harder to do that if you're playing other humans.
Right. Sean, some of our listeners know that August is SMA Awareness Month. So we were thrilled to meet Nick Sinagra and learn more about SMA and his journey. We had a great time on the phone with Nick. We hope to bring him back in the future. As you'll hear, he's got a lot going on. Also, this episode is published just in time for his birthday, August 23rd. Happy birthday, Nick.
Just a side note, this conversation, like all the conversations before it, are experiences lived by individuals who talk about the things they do and the things that work well for them, sometimes including treatment regimens and pharmaceuticals. Please speak with a medical professional before considering changes to your routines. And as always, enjoy this conversation with Nick Sinagra. A friend of Nick's reached out to us not too long ago and shared a little bit of Nick's story, and we've been able to watch some videos and read stories. And Nick, we are so glad you've carved out some time to join us today. Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast.
Thanks, guys. This is awesome. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you, especially because of all the amazing things you're accomplishing in life. We can see on camera that obviously you've got some challenges. Our listeners can probably hear that you've got some challenges, but we are so excited to watch a little bit of your story and hear about it because you're obviously not letting those things slow you down or hold you back. And we're just excited to share some of that with our listeners today. So why don't we start, Nick, with a little bit of your background? Who are you, and what are you living with today? How does rare disease impact your life?
Yeah, so I have a disease called spinal muscular atrophy. I was diagnosed at 17 months old, but my parents started to notice some problems when I was around 6 months old. So they started to notice I wasn't holding my head properly, I wasn't balancing properly, certainly wasn't climbing and doing things like that. So, at the time, my parents had talked to my pediatrician, and the pediatrician wasn't too concerned about it. Said that babies develop at different ages and all that. So, they said keep an eye, but they weren't super concerned about it. But as time went on, the next few months, I really wasn't developing and anywhere close to where I should have been. And the way I was diagnosed was my dad was actually, he heard a doctor on the radio. It was one of those call-in type of shows where you call in and ask questions and all that. So my dad called in and told the doctor what was going on, and the doctor basically said, you need to get him to a neurologist and get him tested or whatever. So
Wow.
when I was 17 months old, they did a muscle biopsy, and the muscle biopsy showed that I had spinal muscular atrophy. When I was 3, I was basically living in the hospital at that point. My lungs kept collapsing, just wouldn't stay open. And the only solution was to get me on a ventilator and, give me a trach and on a ventilator full time. So I got the trach when I was 3. I've never walked, never cried, just those are the things that I'm sort of, people ask, like, how do you get used to that? But I don't know any other way other than to use the wheelchair and the ventilator and that. So this is my life at this point. I've been pretty stable. I mean, I'm almost 37 years old, and I've been pretty stable, and I have, deal with things as they come up. I deal with pneumonia. There's always a risk of pneumonia and getting sick and all that. But just sort of deal with it, and it's really just part of life at this point.
You hit on some major milestones. I just want to clarify for listeners, your parents are word at 6 months. You get diagnosed at 17 months. And today you got a trach at 3 years old. And
Yes.
today you're 37. And as far as I can tell, you're living a pretty significant and fulfilling life, would you say?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I think so. You know, I have my master's degree. I work
Wow.
a full-time job. I'm also in the process of starting my own company. So you know, those are the things. It's funny because people are like, oh, that's, you know, so impressive and all this, but that's just, I, I try to live as much as I can. I try to do whatever I can and whatever I want to do. So it's, you know, I like to think that I do pretty well, and I hopefully just continue to do more and more as the years go on.
Nick, you mentioned that people comment, "Oh my gosh, I like basically I can't believe you can do that because of all your challenges." But you're just like, "This is just the way I am. This is just what it is." Does that motivate you to work harder, to do more because people think you can't?
Um, Honestly, yeah, sometimes. You know, I always say when people tell me I can't do something, just sit back and watch me do it. You know,
Hmm.
I don't like when people tell me I can't do something, and I try. It does make me try harder, but I think, you know, big picture wise, I've always sort of, I don't want to say motivated myself, but I know what I want to do, and I know what I want to accomplish, and I know what my goals are, and you know, big picture wise, I just sort of figure out what I need to do to accomplish my goals, whether it's career or personal or anything else. I know what I want, and I just figure out the plan to make that happen.
I like
I'm
it.
not gonna lie. Right now, you're an easy interview because you've already given us so much to chew on, and now I'm afraid this is gonna be like a 3 hour interview. Um, let's go back to you mentioned you already have your master or you earned your master's degree. So talk to us a little bit about school. What did you study and where did you find the energy to keep pursuing higher education?
Yeah, so I went to Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for both my bachelor's and my master's. And so when I started at Duquesne, I was a English major. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I was going to major in English and then go to law school after that. That was my big, great plan for college. And then I just happened to take a computer programming class. So there was an elective. You could either take calculus or take this computer programming class, and I had always sort of been into to computers and all that. So I'm like, well, let me take the programming class instead of calculus, and I loved it. I did really well. I the professor of the class and actually the chair of the department ended up being really impressed with how I was doing my work and the programs I was doing and all that. And actually, during that semester, they got me a job, an internship with the Pittsburgh Penguins and their website team because, you know, they thought I was doing really good work in the class. So that was my very first programming class. So that's at that point, you know, I found something I really enjoyed, and I felt that I was good at it. So I switched majors from English to multimedia arts. And the chair of the department, who I had mentioned, he really wanted me to go to grad school. He actually became a good friend of mine, a mentor, a friend of that. And you know, he's like, you need to go to grad school. You need to get your master's. You're just too good at this, you know. to not continue. And the whole time I had said, oh, yeah, like, I'd love to. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I'd love to do it. So, my last semester as an undergrad, he offered me a job as a graduate assistant and his teaching assistant, basically so that I could go to grad school for free. So, I wrote as his graduate assistant, his teaching assistant. The last year of grad school, he ended up being my teaching assistant, and I ended up teaching the class, which was awesome. It was a great experience. I actually loved teaching. And so, yeah, I mean, like, that's how I ended up going to grad school. And I mean, I'm going to brag for half a second here, but I did have I did have a 4.0 in grad school, so I was really happy about that.
That's amazing. One thing that sticks out to me is, of course, all of that. What an incredible opportunity for the professor to hire you as a teaching assistant. But beside that, to me, that speaks to the incredible support and the way people believe in each other. Like the fact that he believed in you enough to not only push you toward it, but to help make a way. That's powerful, and I think everybody in life needs somebody like that, right? And I'm glad that you had that person.
Yeah, he was awesome. I mean, I can't say enough about him and how he helped me. I think he saw that I wanted to do it, and I was okay to do whatever I needed to do it. So, like I said, he wasn't just a professor. I mean, we did become good friends as well.
Nick, we talked behind the scenes before we started recording, and turns out you're a big hockey fan and you love the Penguins. When you got an internship there, or I forget now what you mentioned, me over to work on their team, did you feel like you hit the big time? What was that? What was that like?
that was one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, I love the Penguins. I have season tickets. I watch them. I'm probably a little bit obsessed with them at this point. But yeah, to work with them for that year, I mean, I think my first day there, I just sort of like took it all in, and I was like, I can't believe I'm here, sort of thing. So it really was like, it was awesome. I don't even know if I can put it into words.
Nice.
Nick, you also mentioned that you are in the middle of starting your own company. Is that something you might want to talk about or share with our listeners a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, I do have a full-time job. I am director of technology at a company called PathView. PathView does sidewalk data collection and analysis with the goal of making sidewalks accessible to everybody with disabilities and without disabilities. So that is currently my full-time job, but about a year ago, I decided that I wanted to start my own business. Something that my professor friend had always said to me was, you need to do this on your own. You need to do tech support for people and all that and start your company. And he actually passed away, unfortunately, in December 2019. So when he passed away, it really got me thinking, like, I need to do this and I need to make this happen. So about a year ago, started my company. The company is called Able IT Pros. The goal of the company is to provide technology solutions to small companies and nonprofit organizations. But sort of a secondary goal to that is to provide employment opportunities to people with disabilities. So, I know that as you guys know, there are a lot of people with disabilities that have degrees that are very qualified to work, but maybe don't work full time or don't work to the complete capacity for whatever reason, whether it's financial or health concerns or medical concerns or whatever the
Right.
reason may be. So, as part of the company, I am going to be looking to hire people with disabilities and give them the opportunities to use the skills that they have.
Nick, with your experience and perspective, do you have a piece of advice for somebody with a disability that is looking to gain employment out there?
I mean, I probably make it sound too easy, like, oh, I have this job and I work for the Penguins. It's not as easy as I make it sound, and I'm well
Mm-hmm.
aware of that. And, I think it is important to have confidence in yourself, to have faith in yourself, and to to understand that even though if you're having a hard time getting a job or having a hard time finding somebody to give you an opportunity, it is important to have that little bit of almost like an attitude where you have that confidence in yourself and you put yourself out there, no matter how many times you have to put yourself out there, just keep going. And if you need to improve your skills, do that.
Mm-hmm.
I always say I have to work twice as hard to be considered half as good. And that's a tough thing to, to wrap your head around sometimes, that mentality. But if you have to have that mentality, you have to have that mentality and just have that attitude when you are looking for a job or going on an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, persistence is key, right? If you give up on yourself, nobody else is gonna pick you up along the way,
Nick, we also know that you are on a treatment called Spinraza, and we just kind of wanted to touch on that to see how that has affected your life, and I think we come from the perspective that we both have a rare disease called Friedreich's ataxia, and we don't have a treatment yet. There are symptomatic treatments, but we're still working to that point. And it's clear to me that you went through a number of years in this situation where there was no treatment. From that perspective, I just kind of wanted to see how the treatment is affecting what you do every day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, first of all, I've lived 32 years without an approved treatment for SMA, so I certainly understand that piece of it. I so I'm gonna take it back a little bit. I first heard about Spinraza on Christmas Eve of 2016, and I my mom and I were eating lunch together. It was like I said, Christmas Eve, and um, my phone's like, when I got an email, and I'm like, I thought it was something for milk. I'm like, who could possibly be emailing me on Christmas Eve about something for milk? And I looked down at my phone, and it said that Spinraza had been approved as the first treatment for SMA, and I literally didn't know what to think. I showed the email to my mom, and I'm like, is this real? Like, is this actually happening?
Right.
And so we, the day after Christmas, called my doctor. We're like, is this serious? Like, what's going on? Can I get this or that? And actually, my doctor at the time told me that she wouldn't give it to me. That there was not enough data to support giving it to adults. So I actually
Wow.
searched for about 8 months until I found a doctor that would give it to an adult instead of just kids. And I'll tell you what, if they write data to say that it works on adults, just tell them to ask me because it definitely works on adults. When I get the injection, it it is like a huge boost of energy. And that's the best way to describe it, is I get this huge boost of energy for 3 months. I can eat better, I can talk better. Uh, about 2 or 3 days after the injection, I'm like, okay, let's go out, let's go do something. Like, I have this pent up energy. I just want to, like, go and do everything that I can. Uh, so, I tell people this story that this was 2 or 3 years ago. There was an event that a friend of mine had asked me to go to, and typically, if I'm going out with a friend, I either would have somebody, like one of my brothers with me, or an assistant, or somebody go with me, just in case I need something. But I went to this event, just me and her, and I was fine. I didn't have to worry about losing my balance, my head falling to the side, my hands falling, getting too cold, eating, anything like that. I was perfectly fine just going me and her to this event. And that had never happened before.
How freeing was that? Like,
And
how
yeah,
cool.
it's all of a sudden, it's this feeling that I'm not, I still use the wheelchair, I still use the ventilator, but I'm not restricted to, I can't do this, I can't do that. It's like all of a sudden, yes, I can do this, and yes, I can do that. And I mean, most people can go out with their friends and not need assistance, but, you know, it that I never had that before, and it was really an amazing feeling.
So does that, you mentioned 3 months, does it wear off towards the end? Like, does it taper off a little bit?
Yeah, so I get the injection at this point every 4 months. Uh, at exactly 13 weeks, I do start to feel it wear off a little bit. Not, not completely. I mean, it doesn't like go away, but I do feel it wear off, and I'm like, okay, it's time for the injection. It's time to happen again. Um, so for the last 3 or 4 weeks, uh, before the next injection, I do feel it a little bit, but it's certainly not the way it was pre-Spinraza. I still have that strength. It's just not. It just does taper off just a little bit for the last couple of weeks.
I love the fact that you're one of those testimonials today. You know, in the rare disease space, there aren't many treatments out there. And I love the fact that we're able to talk with you about positive treatment, some positive change in your life that has helped improve, even like you said, the small things, right? You're still living in a chair or use the chair and use the trach, but you're able to talk a little clearer, you have a lot more energy, you're able to go out and do things on your own, and that's incredibly powerful, just and significant.
Yeah. I think you're right when you say it's the small things. It's it's funny because my grandmother, she's 97 years old, and she thought this Spinraza was gonna instantly make me rock and do all those things. I was like, no, I'm like, Graham, like, it's not gonna make me rock right now. But I said, it's the day-to-day things that are easier. The day-to-day things. The perfect example is the business. I work full time during the day, and then I'm running my business in the evening. And I think before Spinraza, I just wouldn't have had the energy to work a 13, 16-hour day like that.
Yeah.
and keep up with friends and family and your favorite TV shows or whatever else is going
Whatever
on
else
in
is
life,
going on,
right?
yeah. Like the first time I went out with my friend, just me and her, that was like the best feeling ever. I'll tell you that.
Nick, I'm thinking of at least two more things I want you to talk about. First, about you mentioned having some dreams and goals and knowing what you want out of life. And I would love for you to share one or two of those. What are you pursuing besides the business? We know that's a big deal and working to pay bills and, engage your mind. What are some other things that are important to you to accomplish?
So yeah, I mean, I think I've accomplished a lot professionally, and I want to keep that going for as long as I can. I do think socially, um, there's a lot that I want to do socially. I mean, I would love to meet somebody, have a girlfriend, get married, start a family. Um, but the whole girlfriend thing is something that I've never experienced to this point for various
Overrated.
reasons. Okay, I'll take your word
I
for
might
that.
agree with that too.
I got John. I trust you guys, I think.
I think.
So, maybe that's something that I would love to experience. I'd love to have somebody in my life in that way. Both of my brothers are married and they have families, and I see, everything that they do with their families. I think that that's something that I would love to have at some point. Is that the girlfriend, the wife, the family thing? That's something that I definitely want to do, want to have in my life.
Nick, I wanted to point out, the way that you address this subject head on. I love it. This is a really important thing to all of us. And then what does Sean do? He makes a joke of it and distracts from what's actually important. So thank you for keeping us on track, Nick.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I think. I don't know. Yeah, I do think, I mean, I don't, talking with two guys here, we can kid around the show or something and all that, but like you said, I'm gonna be very direct about that and say, yeah, that's something that I want.
Like,
I think it's important, right? It doesn't come about accidentally, or it hardly ever comes about accidentally. There's got to be some sort of mental intention, at least, and emotional intention to a pursue it a little bit, but also be open to it when somebody does come your way. So, gosh, like I said, Nick, I don't know if you're open to it, but we got to have you back on the show. What I'm curious about right now, before we start to wrap up, in terms of finding that person, do you currently put yourself out there at all or pursue it at all?
Probably not as much as I should or as much as I could.
Yeah.
But, obviously the last year and a half has been very difficult for everybody in
Sure.
so many different ways. And dating and all that has kind of become secondary to a lot of people. At the same time, I think that the last year and a half has also made me realize that I do need to push things a little bit, and I do need to pursue it. That it's not just going to happen. And,
Sure.
being stuck in the house for the last, for that year or whatever it was, I think I do need to push it a little bit more and to, like I said, just like with anything else, I have a good. Now I just need to come up with a plan to make it happen.
yep.
Well, let us help jumpstart that for you. Listeners, this is Nick Sinagra. He lives in Pittsburgh. He loves long strolls on the beach. And he's, did I already say 37? Has his master's degree, starting his own company. So if you're interested, You just send us an email and we'll arrange a lunch date.
Absolutely.
As the ladies out there, send an email. I'll definitely hang out with you.
Yeah, nice. Nick, like I was thinking, maybe we'll have you back in the future. We can do a whole episode on dating and that whole side of life and the challenges maybe that come with it. And I could just interview you and Kyle and feature a little bit of your story again.
That'd be
If you're
awesome.
open to it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be like, I have some great dating stories that I'm sure that you guys would love to hear.
I believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, please. You know, Nick, one thing I want to be sure we touch on, obviously, we're wrapping up the month of August, and we know August is the SMA Awareness Month. We want to give you just a freestyle opportunity to share one or two or whatever comes to mind, things that you want to highlight, things that you wish people knew or were aware of when it comes to either you or SMA in general.
Yeah, I always like to tell people, and this is people with disabilities and people without disabilities, that no matter what the stereotype is, no matter what your thoughts are, we have hopes and dreams and goals and likes and dislikes and good days and bad days, just like everybody else. And I think sometimes that gets forgotten or lost or, I don't know. I think from what I've experienced, people might look at me and just think it's all about the disability. Well, to me, it's not all about the disability. It's about living my life the way I want to live it and doing the things that I want to do and having those goals and those dreams and all that. And I think that's true, as you guys well know, for most people, if not all people with disabilities. So I think there is still somewhat of a stereotype out there. I think we've certainly progressed in my lifetime, but I think we have ways to go as far as some of those stereotypes are concerned. Yep. So I always like to just remind people about that occasionally.
Thank you for that. And Nick, you're a wonderful example because, I can feel and see and hear your personality is shining through. It's not about SMA. It's about connecting with Nick, the person. And I've noticed for me, that's been a huge thing that I've been focusing on the last few years. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience and letting us see the Nick behind the SMA.
Yeah, definitely. This was fun chatting with you guys. I like chatting with you guys. But, I hope that, obviously SMA is part of my life, but hopefully people see Nick first.
Yep.
Absolutely. There's so much more to life than our circumstances, right? And you are a perfect example of what our show is all about, finding ways to live beyond the circumstances or challenges and disease that sometimes we can't do anything about except live beyond them. So, Nick, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing a bit of you.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was awesome. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, guys.
Well, like you said, Kyle, we had a great time with this conversation. I think you can hear it in our voices. We all had a blast and just seemed to connect well, and we look forward to connecting with Nick again in the future because he's got a lot going on, a lot to share. Not only is he staying busy with his family and people around him, but he's building his own company and doing a lot of stuff. So plenty of things that we can talk about in the future. I'm grateful that we were able to meet him and get him on the show today.
And again, we always talk about the fact that disability is separate from the person, but Nick is really living it. I'm so impressed with all his accomplishments and activism.
Yeah, he's definitely not wasting much time. He probably doesn't have time sucks like we did. He's probably a little more disciplined than you or I.
That's probably a good point.
Well, like always, we're going to wrap it up here with some thank you notes. Expressing gratitude helps each of us stay in a healthy, positive mindset. So I got to say thank you to the service of steam cleaning. Last week, we had the carpets cleaned in the house, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. You know, it's one thing to get down there on your hands and knees and spray a little carpet resolve and scrub, but man, a professional and steam cleaning makes a whole world of a difference. So thank you, I guess, A, to the roomies for arranging that and making it happen, and B, for whoever thought steam cleaning is better than hand scrubbing.
How about the fact that you really, really noticed the difference? And so do you ever think about, like, how you had been living with so much dirt before?
Yeah. No, Kyle. Never think about that.
Nice. Well, my thank you note goes out to accessible equipment in general, because it allows us to do all the things we need to do. Specifically, I had an experience lately with a standing wheelchair. I'm borrowing it for like a month to see if it's going to do well for me. And it's a manual drive, so you push it with your arms, but the standing part of it has a motor, so you push a button and it helps you stand. And I was able to like rearrange all my Tupperware. Like I've never been able to do that in the cupboard before, you know. So
did you look on top of the fridge?
I did look up there, and
did you realize how dirty it was?
Yes, I need to
thought about steam cleaning that area. That's pretty cool. So with this chair, I assume you stand in place, or can you move and roll while you're in that standing position?
It's pretty stationary when you're standing, which is good because it's very stable. I wasn't sure how stable it was going to be, but I don't think I could tip that thing over if I tried while I'm standing. So
that's cool.
I posted a reel to Instagram of me standing up in that standing chair, and it was a time suck because it really reached a lot of people, and I'm so grateful for all the likes, but I kept just thinking about, how many likes do I have, and going back to it.
Wow. That's where that came from, because earlier I was thinking, you barely post. And the stuff you post really isn't that cool. So I'm like, why do you think? But I get it. I missed the reel. I guess I didn't see that.
Oh man, you're the only one in existence that missed that.
Fair.
Okay, Sean, let's wrap this up. We encourage everyone to go to our website, check out the show notes for this episode. There's some links of Nick in some interviews that he's done before, so check that out. Please share the show with all of your friends and family. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We look forward to talking at you next time. And as always, keep living with urgency. Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. This show is possible with your support. Visit twodisableddudes.com to donate.
Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
I posted a video. No. I posted a reel to... I posted a reel... Oh, here we go. Okay.